What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be building around yet another infamous archetype just like Dondozo. We're going to be looking at Psyspam, and this is where the viewers pretty much stop watching and turn me off, right? Because it's another one of those archetypes like, oh no, why are we playing this? Why would you do this? Okay, well, that's because it's oppressive, and you know, lots of people they don't really put too many things in their teams around it. That's why you hate it, right? You hate it because you get beaten by it and you don't have the checks to really deal or answer to it. Well, that being said, we will talk about that, right? But first, let's actually build the archetype, right? So this is where, you know, some of the bigger players like Jin Fury or Tom Hayden or even Tapu Wapo, they're very happy with this video, right? Because they are very strong, adamant Trick Room players, right? Because I've never seen these guys play anything else but, you know, Psyspam Trick Room stuff. So shout outs to them for, you know, being absolute pros at this archetype, right? But in terms of how you played it, it's going to be relatively straightforward. It's very linear in how we want to start this, right? There is going to be like other ways to use Psyspam, of course, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. But if you're first learning and starting to play, this is how you want to start. You want to do with Indeedee-F Hatterene, right? This is your patented combination. Okay, and then from there, your Trick Room sweepers are going to be Torkoal and something like an Ursaluna. All right, so you have the special sweeper in the Torkoal, you know, with the sun, which is really good, by the way, against Pelipper teams. You take away the rain, and then all of a sudden, you know, Archaludon has to charge up its Electro Shot. Basculegion is not doing as much damage, and it's a lot slower, of course. And then you have, of course, your physical aspect, you know, the Ursaluna for that matter, right? So, that being said, it is a rather linear playstyle, right? And because of that, it's an easy playstyle to pick up and learn. But that being said, it's also a very predictable playstyle if you're the opponent, right? You can play your way around Psyspam if you've got the tools on your team, okay? And we'll talk about that as we, you know, build the squads and go along. But at the very least, you know, this is how you want to start. You want to use your Indeedee, you know, with your Follow Me to redirect attacks and protect something like your Hatterene, so this way you can safely set up the Trick Room. Now, at some point, you know, maybe you might be put in situations where the Indeedee is setting up your Trick Room, right? And that could also work depending on the scenario. So you're gonna have at least 2 Trick Room centers here. And then the idea is, of course, if they knock out the Indeedee, you know, after clicking Follow Me and the Hatterene clicks Trick Room, then we can get into our Torkoal for free and start clicking the Eruption button, and things will melt, especially if they do not resist the Torkoal Eruption, right? Or we can even go into the Ursaluna. That's also another option that you can also consider, right? Now, if you look at this kind of floor, you know, Incineroar is quite strong into something like this. Why? For a few reasons. One, Incineroar is a dark type. Expanding Force from Hatterene in the Psychic terrain. Guess how much damage that's doing? 0. Why? Because again, Psychic doesn't do any damage to a dark type, right? So, and then at the same time, super effective damage into the Indeedee. It clicks Knockoff, and it's more or less a 2-hit KO, right? So Incin looks really good in front of, you know, Indeedee Hatterene, and it's also pretty good against Torkoal. Why? Because Eruption, you know, Incineroar resists that because you are a fire type also, and Incineroars are very bulky anyway, so they can take an Eruption decently, I would say. And then at the same time, Ursaluna, right? Ursaluna is usually going to be holding this Flame Orb, so this way it gets to activate Guts, but Ursaluna is a physical attacker, and Incineroar can always come in and intimidate Cycle it, so this way it doesn't do as much damage as it wants to do, right? So that being said, when you build and use Psyspam, you have to be aware of Incineroar, and you need to have something against the Incineroar, so this way your options can do what they need to do, okay? So that's the first thing that you have to consider when using a linear playstyle like this. Like, who's going to be your boon? Who's going to be big weaknesses? Dark types, first of all, King Gambit, you know, Hydreigon. These are all Pokemon that can do well in front of something like this core right here. So you're going to need options against that. So one thing to do is to have a fighting type on your team, okay? So now this is where we're going to get a little bit of variance. So this is why I like Gallade on these teams. And we've seen Gallade historically throughout this gen on these Psyspam teams. And it has a multi-use, okay? Gallade, by the way, is like a huge difference maker on Psyspam, all right? For a few reasons. One, you get to have, first of all, you're, you know, clear amulets on the Gallade first of all. All right, it's another physical attack, a 125 attack. Very, very strong. And then at the same time, look at this. Sacred Sword with Sharpness. This is just going to one-shot Incineroars, okay? You can't get intimidated. You're going to get a nice boost, right? 1.5, that's basically a free life orb on this thing, right? With your slicing moves, okay? Then at the same time, read it. Again, Sacred Sword, you ignore stat changes. That's very good into Dondozo. You can chip it very, very... I want to say very, very much. You can chip it a lot, okay? Especially with Helping Hand. You know, if your Indeedee is clicking Helping Hand, and you know, with the Gallade, all right, that's basically a two-shot into most Dondozos, okay? So that's very, very good. And then this is also going to do a ton into Archaludon. If they don't tear it, that's it. Archaludon is cooked. Those defenses from Stamina Boost, they don't matter, okay? Sacred Sword, very good ability this one. Psycho Cut, another one that also benefits, and you get a crit, you know, little crit bonus there if you're able to get lucky enough. So I like that. Then you get Wide Guard, and that's really good against a lot of the spread damages that's in this format. Like, think about an opposing Torkoal Eruption, think about Earthquake, think about Heat Wave, you know, from like a Volcarona. Really, really nice. And then at the same time, look, your Ursaluna also gets Earthquake, right? And that's good synergy with Gallade because you can click Wide Guard and Earthquake, and your Gallade will be totally safe, right? So that's another interaction, you can go for it. But anyway, this is going to be good against those Dark types, those Kingambits, those Hydreigons, those Incineroars. Gallade is excellent, okay? Then, of course, you get another Trick Room Setter. So you can even do stuff like Indeedee Gallade, all right? And Gallade can be your Trick Room Setter. And then Gallade can take care of the Incineroar stuff, right? So I like that. Then what's also going to be good on some of these Psyspam teams is a fast mode, okay? And you can probably see where this is going. You can't just only go like hard trick room stuff. You got to mix it up a little bit. And, you know, if your opponent leads wrong, they kind of just get cooked in the first few turns. So this is where the Hisuian-Lilligant comes into play, all right? So this is your fast mode. Why? Because, again, with the Torkoal on the field, you know, Chlorophyll gets activated, you get to double your speed, you become the fastest thing in the format, and then you get to have what's called After You, right? And that means you can do After You Eruption things, okay? Very, very strong, okay? If your opponent has no answer, that's it. It's, you know, first few turns, you know, they get cooked. Then you also have Sleep Powder. Now, I would not use this if you don't have to, okay? This is only like, if you're in a tight spot, you really need that Sleep Powder, go for it. Otherwise, my logic here with Sleep Powder is, why would you sleep something if you can just kill it, right? So that's always my thing. You know, people always, they keep spamming Sleep Powder, Sleep Powder, Sleep Powder. I'm just like, you don't need to sleep it. Just kill it, okay? So just be aware of that. Then, of course, the Grass Move. You need Solar Blade. You know, this is also really good. No charge in the sun. Does a ton of damage. You know, again, base 125 attack, right? Then after that, you know, simple close combat. You know, you got another good strong fighting move that you can have with the Lilligant here. And then Terra Ghost, right? Just to stop potential fake outs. You could also switch in Indeedee in some cases, right? So you can make plays like that. But this is what I would do. This is like a very basic Psyspam core. And then what I want to do after this is, you know, show you a slight different variation of this. So we'll give you two Psyspam teams. And then we'll also talk about some other niche options that you can also consider on this Psyspam archetype, right? And I say niche because they're only good in certain scenarios. They're not like, you know, the standard cookie cutter stuff, but they can be used, you know, depending on the player and if played correctly, all right? But we'll talk about that in a different time of the video. So let's work with this first version first. So let's round out the rest of the team here. Let's go back to Indeedee. Okay, so back here, look, we've got the Follow Me, we've got the Redirection move, we've got the Trick Room move, we've got the Help Me Do More Damage move and Helping Hand. Let's get one attack here. Let's go Dazzling Gleam here very safely. Let's go Safety Goggles. You know, Amoonguss is always a bane against Trick Room teams, right? Because, you know, you click Trick Room, Amoonguss becomes the fastest thing. So I've liked, you know, Safety Goggles on the Indeedee. So this way you can redirect all the spores, and then these guys get to do what they need to do against everything else, or even into the Amoonguss, right? So that's also why, you know, Hatterene and Gallade are also really good. You get to really put pressure on the Amoonguss because it's weak to Psychic type stuff. All right, let's go Terra Water here. I think this is also solid. just, you know, resist a lot of the strong water types that are running around, like, you know, maybe like a Basculegion or a Pelipper or something, right? I've liked Terra Water Indeedee for a bit, okay? Even Palafin stuff, right? So other than that, if you want to go Terra Fairy against the dark types, you can definitely go Terra Fairy against the dark types. Totally fine. Hatterene here. So if this is going to get, so let's go Life Orb here, right? We want our Hatterene to do a ton of damage. We've said Expanding Force, Trick Room. Okay, those are your main moves. Then you have the Fairy move, Dazzling Gleam, just like Indeedee here. This is good against the dark types too. Another one where I've liked Terra Water. By the way, you know, the biggest reason for Terra Water is also Goldango, right? Goldango can kind of just sit in front of these two and not really care. And if it specs, it's just going to click Make It Rain, and these things are melting. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So this is why the Terra Water is necessary. And if I had to pick one, I would Terra Water the Hatterene in front of that Choice Specs Goldango, because I want the Indeedee to go down, but I want the Hatterene to live. So I want to set up the Trick Room, and then I can go into the Torkoal and melt the Goldango, right, in that case. So just be aware of that. Then this can just simply be Protect here, right? The Torkoal, up to you. If you like Choice Specs for more damage but no Protect, then you can do that. Otherwise, Charcoal is your next best item. You know, you've got the Eruption play. You've got the Earth Power play. This is also good into Incineroar, right? You know, you can click something else besides Eruption if you've taken a bunch of chip damage. And then I like this latest move. I like Weather Ball. Okay, and then we'll go Protect here, right? Sometimes Heat Wave is good, but it misses. And if there is Wide Guard, then that's not good. Then all I'm clicking is Earth Power. But I really need that strong fire attack, right? Enter Weather Ball here. So now in the sun, it's doing a lot of damage. Good single target move if I have to click something that's not Eruption, right? So that being said, again, Terrafire is pretty standard, you know, just a little bit more damage. Ursaluna here, also pretty good. You know, Ghost is also solid. You know, dodge the Fake Out, dodge the fighting move. And then from here, you know, just Headlong Rush, Facade. You know, especially after you get your Burn Chip going, Facade is just going to do a ton more damage. Look at this damage, right? Power doubles, base 140. All right, and then Protect over here. Okay, Gallade. Oh yeah, we did the Terra. Gallade here. Again, we've already done the set. You know, all we have to really do is just pick a Terra on it. I think Grass is just good on it. Again, ignore Mungus. You know, all together. At the same time, the Dondozo Wave Crash, right? So that's also okay. Then the Lilligant, like we mentioned. Oh, we forgot to put the Sash on this thing. All right, well now we have the Sash. Again, another pretty standard set here for the Lilligant here. But this is it. This is how we're gonna start with this basic core of Psyspam. Very easy to learn, very easy to pick up. Okay, you'll win a lot of ladder games, you know, in the early get-go. And then once you get a good feel of it, then you can kind of start to innovate a little bit. But at least start with this. I feel like this is always like a very good standard Psyspam team. All right, so now let's go ahead and let's slap on some EVs and let's test out this version, and then we'll build another archetype. All right, let's go to the Indeedee here. So very basically, you know, the Spadef is always really good. I like just investing in the physical defense, so this way it's extra bulky. So what does that mean? I'm gonna go Relax Nature here. I'm gonna go 0 speed, of course. Be faster in Trick Room. This is also good into Rillaboom stuff, because Rillabooms will always have some speed invested, so you'll get to always override their terrain if you both lead your terrain centers at the same time. Let's go 236 here. And then after that, max out the defense like this, and then have a little bit of leftover in the Spadef. Just something like this. Very, very standard, very straightforward. Nothing really else needs... Oh, I'm sorry, I'm at 20 over here, right? This is it. This is all you really need. And if you really wanted to, you can do something like this, where you can go 176. This way, you know, optimize for the Rillaboom grassy terrain stuff. If the Rillaboom does come in and override your own terrain, right? So prepare for that. So this way, go 176. It's a factor of 16. After that, 12 points in the Spadef. That's all we really need. Hatterene here. I will go Quiet here. You know, again, special attack boost, negative speed nature. You want to optimize this HP for this Life Orb chip, right? That means always ending in a 9. So we're gonna go, how about 140? No, I think we can go 159 here, right? Yeah, that's good. Then we'll max the special attack. We want this Hatterene to do a ton of damage. And then after that, it's just leftover EVs. 44, you know, dump this rest into physical defense. Spadef is already like pretty solid, so a little bit of physical defense wouldn't hurt. All right, Torkoal, this one, again, another one where we're gonna go Quiet Nature, and this one, will just be a simple 252-252 set, right? Max special attack, max HP, and you know, I can also do the same thing I did with the Indeedee, a little bit less HP, get that 176 number, and then just put the rest into special defense like this, right? Leftover EVs. All right, regular Ursaluna. I almost said Blood Moon Ursaluna, but I meant the regular one. Let's go Brave Nature here. Again, attack boosting nature with 0 speed. Now, the one thing I want to keep in mind is optimizing against the Flame Warp chip. So this way, worst case scenario, I will always have 1 HP at the very end, and I'll be able to get 1 more attack off if it comes down to it, right? But you know, depends on the scenario. And I like a little bulk on my Ursaluna, and that makes a difference in best of 3 scenarios. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to 140 investment. Why? Because I'm going to hit 223 HP as opposed to 224, which is that Rillaboom grassy terrain number, right? 176, 192, 208, 224. These are all factors of 16 that you want to optimize for that terrain. But the Flame Orb takes away your HP, 1/8 exactly, right? So to optimize against that, we're gonna go to 223. So this way the number rounds down, and then I don't want it to round up because if it's 224, it's perfect, right? I want to round it down. So this way, if I do the factor of 1/8, if I just take out my calculator real quick, just to show you the number here, it's gonna be 27.875, right? So that means it'll round down to 27 damage per tick instead of this. If it's at 224, it'll be 28 damage per tick. So, you know, less HP that I'm taking, right? Then from here, I've got 368 EVs left to play with. You could do this. You could actually go to the third bump here, 209, and then call it there, and then just dump the rest into, you know, special defense like this. This is okay. I like my Ursalunas a little bit more bulkier. So if you like this, then go with this. But for me, I like the second bump as opposed to the third bump. So I'm going to drop this to 156 instead and put a little bit more bulk in the special defense mark, right? And again, I say this in every team building video that we've done, you know, since we've started the channel. If you want to get better at creating EV spreads and you want to get better at, you know, team building in competitive play, you've got to know what EV bumps are. So if you don't know what EV bumps are, comment in the video below asking, what are EV bumps? I will respond to you, I will reply to you, and hopefully my explanation will make sense. But I've been doing this in every video. There's always at least a couple that are asking what are EV bumps. That means there's nothing, again, there's nothing in the game that tells you what they are because you have to go on YouTube and watch people like me, okay? So comment what are EV bumps and I will tell you. But anyway, here's the second bump. We took 80 EVs off. We added it back into special defense there. Every bump is separated by 80 EVs in the natured stat. Only the natured stat, okay? Not any other stat. So in this case, in Ursaluna, the natured stat is the adamant stat. So you're only going to see the bumps here, not in any other stat. And it's always separated by 80 EVs where you see that bump, okay? Gallade here, I'm going to do the same thing. All right, I'm going to go for that benchmark here. But look at this HP. It's much lower than Ursaluna's, right? So I'm actually going to want a little bit more for my Gallade EVs, okay? And really, I just want to max this thing, right? I'm a little bit short from Rillaboom's terrain, but that's okay. That's totally fine. At least it'll be optimized, you know, for Tyranitar's chip damage. But I will go Brave Nature just like your Ursaluna. I will go 0 speed, okay? And I'll go just right here. This is the, yep, this is it right here. Here's the third bump. And then after that, a little bit of leftover into the physical defense point, right? 60 EVs in that department, okay? And like I said, if you want even more bulk, take 80 EVs away from this. All right, go there and then put 80 more EVs over here. And now you've reached this magical 103 number, you know, for your physical defenses. Okay, so you can do it like that if you like. But other than that, I like a little bit more damage out of my Gallade. And I'm going to go to 196 instead. Okay, Lilligant, easy, another one of those easy ones. Just a straight jolly set. You know, 252, 252. And that's really all there is to it. Okay, let me just check the terras here one more time. Yeah, and this is it. This is your very basic, very easy to pick up Psyspam team, okay? And I'll show you another variant of this just to help you consider some other options, and then we'll talk about some other niche options here. But this is a starting build, okay? It's been used in previous formats, okay? It's nothing new. Again, this is usually for those who are like just starting or first learning how to play competitive or just getting back into it after a long hiatus. All right, so let's test out the team in a couple battles and then we'll build version 2. Okay, this player. Oh, actually, it's Evil Phantom, and I actually know this player. He's one of my followers on Twitter, and this team, he actually just won a tournament with this, right? And here's that tournament, right? Phantom Evil, first place, 7-1 record. Congrats, good win. But we ran into him on ladder while building and testing the team. So let's see how we do here. So he's got Garchomp, Gardevoir. He's got the Kilowattrel. Okay, there's your Tailwind setter. You can Earthquake next to that. And then here's Volcarona with the Fake Out Boys. Okay, so Quiver Dance looks like a very much a possibility. Okay, and here it might be your anti-Trick Room option in Gardevoir. I don't actually know if they were running Trick Room or not. We can take the look at the team later if we so choose. But right away, I know Psyspam looks pretty good here. The only thing is the Incineroar and the Rillaboom. Why? Because there's the Dark type like we mentioned. And here is the Terrain Resetter in the Rillaboom. Okay, so we have to focus on those. This is why I think Gallade is really, really good into something like this. Now, the question is, does he bring the Gardevoir? We don't know, so we'll just have to wait and see. But I know he must bring the Incineroar without a doubt, okay? So, let's see how he leads. I'm going to go with Indeedee, and I'm going to go Gallade here just in case. And there is the Incineroar like we talked about, and there is the Volcarona. Okay, so he actually brought the Volcarona here. So, that's fine. No fake out for the Indeedee. He's going into the Rillaboom. So, there it is. He brought the 2 Pokemon I said he needed to bring. So, there goes my advantage there, but he does go for Heat Wave, not as much damage. Sacred Sword, immediately removing the Rillaboom. Okay, I wanted to remove the Incin, but he went for that instead. So, Dark type gone, in comes Garchomp, that's okay. I'm gonna go Wide Guard because I saw Heat Wave first. He might have gone Earthquake Protect there. He goes single target, we live anyway, and that's good news for me because now I go for Trick Room. See, a little bit of bulk helps a lot. And now he's in a tough spot here. So now I can just simply, you know, just redirect everything. I went into the Volcarona. I thought he would switch into the Incin there, but, you know, he did not. So I get that turn wrong. Okay, he goes for a Stomping Tantrum. Indeed, he lives. So, you know, I still have to keep maximizing my Trick Room turns here. All right, so I'm just going to go Helping Hand, and I'm literally just going to go for it. He protects the Volcarona. Good choice there. But we removed the Garchomp, so that's good news for me, right? Because I do have a Torkoal coming in. All right, so a couple more turns of Trick Room. All right, now here comes the Incineroar. Of course, he can Fake Out if he wants because, again, he has Grassy Terrain. There is no Psychic Terrain. He goes Terra Ghost. Good play there because I did go Sacred Sword. He kind of had to go Terra Ghost there at that point, but that's okay. Why? Because we have Torkoal coming in, and this is where he runs into trouble here. And I know he wants the, you know, the Quiver Dance because there's only one Trick Room turn left, but you know, Torkoal, Terra Fire, you know, again, just Eruption, melting the Incineroar. He has no choice there. And then Gallade just kind of wrapped things up here. Yeah, Gallade staying on the field. Again, Indeedee was really good. But again, shout outs to Evil Phantom. Congrats on winning that tournament. But Gallade takes the bacon here. Okay, this is another one of those, you know, interesting teams here. He still has the Rillaboom Incineroar combination. Okay, there's Palafin, there's his Fire Water Grass Core. He's got Whimsicott, Farigiraf, and Skeletor. So obviously Skeletor's great into his, you know, for his Dondozo matchup. It's not a lot of damage coming out from his squad, right? Unless he really wants to wrap up the damage from the Skeletors or even Zero to Hero Palafin. But I feel like it's still a little bit passive, right? Especially with Whimsicott, Incin, and Farigiraf. Not much damage coming out from those guys. And Skeletors needs a few turns to get going there. So we can take advantage of that. But I still think, again, just like Evil Phantom, this guy wants to bring both Incineroar and Rillaboom. Again, just changing your terrain and using that Dark type to their advantage, right? So those are the two things you got to worry about, you know, if you are a Psyspam player, right? So, you know, people that are very good at using their Rillabooms and Incineroars, they don't have too much trouble with the Psyspam. So you have to be aware that you have to play the Rillaboom Incineroar game. Okay, I can't stress that enough. All right, so let's see how he does. I'm going to go Lilligant Torkoal here this time with Indeedee in the back because I want to try and surprise the opponent here. I've done this play a few times in the past. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I know he's going to try and Fake Out or do something. I'm going to go Indeedee here, and I want to click the Eruption play because I was anticipating the Fake Out here. And he goes actually a double swap Incin and Skeletor. So he's able to resist this, but this is still like good free damage overall, right? So that's okay. Now, there's the Torch Song. No Rillaboom swapping. Okay, he goes Knockoff. That's okay. He knocks off the Specs. I was testing Specs at the moment, right? So after that, You know, we pop the instance berry. That's still okay. I go Trick Room now, so now I still have this advantage. So now I have to make use of these Trick Room terms. I want to get the Ursaluna in now. I want him to remove the Indeedee. This is why I click Follow Me. I want to go into Torkoal. He doesn't. He makes the smart play. He does Parting Shot into the Rillaboom. Get the Grassy Terrain out. Okay, but Ursaluna is still in. Now, there is Incineroar still as a possibility, right? He can Intimidate, cycle the Ursaluna, which is what he does. And I can't even click Earthquake that well because the Rillaboom is here. But what I can do is click Facade, but the Rillaboom has Terra Steel instead of Terra Fire, and that was the surprise factor there. But I do live the Wood Hammer, you know, because we Terra Ghosted, so that's good news for me. All right, there's Skeletors. I still have 2 turns of Trick Room. I'm being mindful of this. I get to override the terrain, all right, and I just click Earthquake, remove both of these options, right? You know, get rid of this. I don't mind hurting my own Indeedee in this case, right? And I changed the terrain so I could Earthquake. The game is essentially over here because after this, I will have Lilligant Torkoal in the back. I can click After You Eruption stuff, and the game is over. After this, it's just the icing on this cake. He does click Jet Punch. He doesn't click Grassy Glide, so it doesn't matter even if I lose the Ursaluna here because next turn, the Lilligant and the Torkoal beat the Palafin because, again, I do have that Grass type. I still have the Sash on me. So, in the end, it was still fine. I had the fast mode in the back, so even if he was able to beat the Ursaluna this turn, it's okay. I would have cleaned things up next turn anyway. Okay, you've seen Psyspam 1. I'm going to show you Psyspam 2. So, what that means is I'm going to show you a slight variance of this core, and that means I am going to include the Armarouge here, because Armarouge does well into the Torkoal Mirror. It also has Wide Guard, just like Gallade, and at the same time, Expanding Force, just like Hatterene. And then you do have a strong special attacking fighting move, which means you don't need to run a Clear Amulet anymore. You can run an aggressive item, so this way you can do more damage, right? And Flash Fire is really good. Okay, so that being said, you have the option to remove the Hatterene or the option to remove the Gallade. So whichever one you like, either way, I'm going to remove the Gallade here. And you might say, why? It's like the MVP of the team. It is, but I'm showing you another variant, and this could be your new MVP. We're going to go Armarouge here, and normally this would be getting a Life Orb, but because the Life Orb is here on the Hatterene, that's okay. We can have this latest set here with the Power Herb, okay, and we can go Meteor Beam with this Armarouge, okay? It's still going to get Trick Room, of course. It's still going to get Expanding Force, and then at the same time, it will also get Armor Cannon here for another strong, aggressive, special attacking fire move, right? So, Terra Grass, also really good. You know, again, avoiding the Amoonguss. Puts pressure on the Amoonguss too, but Armarouge is a very good weapon that just Hatterene can't give you sometimes, and by using Meteor Beam, you're also very good into the Incineroar, right? So from here, very much just like some standard stuff. Again, Quiet Nature, you know, just so that we can be the faster option in Trick Room. I'm still going to go, you know, again, to this bump here, this benchmark. I want to go, instead of 187, I want to go to 188 because of the 1.5 boost from the Meteor Beam. I don't want a decimal, you know, with my special attack. I want it to be a nice solid number. So that means having an even number, you know, because an even number multiplied by 1.5 gives you that nice solid whole number. Then after that, let's max the HP here. 192, very good. That's a nice Rillaboom Grassy Terrain number. And then let's dump the rest here into special defense. A little bit of leftover bulk. Doesn't hurt any money. All right, but this is, again, the second variant. I do like Armarouge in some games versus the Hatterene. And it's also still pretty good into Incineroar, right? Because of Meteor Beam. So just keep that in mind. All right, so let's test this variant and let's see how it does. All right, Dondozo, perfect. Let me show you how to play against these Dondozo plebs. You know, and he's using the correct Dondozo variant, you know, with Talonflame and Glimmora, okay? He does have a Palma, which is also what we have, but he took out Goldengo, and I think that's a mistake. I do like Goldengo more than that Sylveon over there, but that's okay. All right, so here, you know, with Dondozo, again, just get the Trick Room advantage, and then, you know, just wear him down with your Psyspam tools, okay? And you have Terra Grass option available to you. So, that being said, how do we start? He's going to go Glimmora. He's going to go Talonflame. That's okay. Talon Gains, that's a funny name. I'm going to go Indeedee, and I'm going to go Armarouge, okay? So, right away, I can pressure this Talonflame right now. He goes Spiky Shield. That's very interesting, okay? He's going to go Follow Me. He's going to go Flare Blitz. Why he does that, I don't know. I could have just not did that, and he could have went into the Armarouge. But Expanding Force just eliminates everything, okay? And he didn't Terra, so that was just 2 free kills already. Dondozo Tatsugiri comes out. I still have my Trick Room turns. Dondozo gets all these boosts. That's okay. All right, I'm going to go Terra Grass. I'm going to go Helping Hand. All right, and he clicks Protect. That's the correct play. So, you know, he's stalling my Trick Room turns, which is fine. You know, I'm going to go Hatterene now. Okay, because Expanding Force, again, does decent damage into Dondozo, but he's going to click Aura, right? So now here's what's going to happen. I'm going to have 1 Trick Room turn up. He's going to Protect and then potentially sweep me next turn. But I'm going to go the double Trick Room play. So this way I get all 5 of my Trick Room turns back. And now the pressure is back on. Okay, I'm going to get my terrain back here. Expanding Force from the Hatterene looks really good here. I could have even used the Armarouge to just double up on damage there. Does Order Up again. That's fine because now I know he's just going to Protect next turn. So, you know, it's fine because at the end of the day, he kind of lost a lot of momentum by me resetting Trick Room for a second time here, right? So he protects, he tries, but again, Expanding Force, you know, simply just takes him out here. Almost kills the Dondozo, but now we do get to remove it here. You know, again, now he's just left with the Tatsugiri. He has no choice but to forfeit. We still have all of our options in the back. But again, sometimes you can do that if there is 1 turn of Trick Room left, okay, and you have both your Trick Room centers on the field, and they're more than likely incentivized to protect, you can do the double Trick Room tick and then reset your Trick Room turns altogether, right? You know, some people forget about that, but I just showed you that trick on that screen, so don't forget to Trick Room your Trick Room. So this way you can reset all your Trick Room turns on your last turn of Trick Room. Another rear team here, and one thing I am looking at is the Garganacl here, especially if he's got Wide Guard. It's also a pretty good option in Trick Room because it's a very low base speed, so that's really the only thing I'm worried about here. Everything else I don't really care. All right, so that being said, he goes Garganacl lead, expected, and he goes Volcarona here, right? I'm going to go Indeedee, and I'm going to go Armarouge. I'm looking at Meteor Beam into that bug, and I'm looking to do some big damage. There's the poison. Why he did that, okay, he did click Wide Guard, but I was never going for that, right? He goes Quiver Dance. Well, I've got news for you, buddy. How about you enjoy this nice Meteor Beam? Goodbye, Volcarona. See you later. And now he is a poison-type Garganacl. He's looking at Expanding Force. All right, there's the value of Armarouge, right? So, Light Screen, that's okay. Expanding Force, he didn't even click Wide Guard. Not that Meowstic was going to do any damage. He Salt Cures the Indeedee, but that's okay. I don't need this thing on the field, right? So, he has no choice. He just has to forfeit because, again, I was just doing way too much damage. But you got to see the value of Meteor Beam there, right? It's good into Incins, it's good into Volcaronas, other fire types that you can think of, but even like a Talonflame, right? But again, just getting that instant value attack boost with your Trick Room next turn, +1 Expanding Force is just going to do so much damage in the following turn. Okay, before we go into both of those pace one last time, what I do want to do is, you know, just show you a couple of lesser niche options that you can use within the Psyspam archetype. So the first one here is the Choice Scarf Annihilate period. Now, why would this Annihilate have this set? So it gets something called Final Gambit, right? And what that means is, you know, at max HP, you're dealing 217 instant nuke damage, and then you yourself are also getting KO'd. So, you know, with the Choice Scarf, you're able to outspeed pretty much a lot of different things here, especially when you're just jolly, okay? And then at the same time, what that does is not only do you get a free nuke, but then you get to go into your Trick Room Sweeper for free, right? So you could go into your Torkoal, your Ursaluna, whatever it is, Final Gambit, you take out one Pokemon, and then you go into your Trick Room Setter along with, you know, maybe the Indeedee at the same time on the field, right? So that being said, it's a little bit predictable, okay? And people can just play around that, you know, with Final Gambit being a fighting move here. You know, if you have a Goldango, if you have a Ghost type, you know, this doesn't work. If you protect against it, you know, then the Final Gambit doesn't work either. So there's lots of easy ways to play around it, which is why I don't really recommend it because it eventually just becomes way too linear, even more linear than what I've shown you already, right? So, but it's still very easy to use, okay? So if you want to play and mess around with this, you know, this is also another tool that you can use, you know, on your Psyspam squad. The other one is Hariyama over here. So, you know, in my opinion, you just use Ursaluna, okay? This is another thing that does get guts, okay? It's also going to do a ton of, you know, attack damage, you know, a lot of HP, just like the regular Ursaluna, less bulk, okay? You do get fake out, you know, for yourself. And then you also get a fighting type attack, which is good, you know, maybe to something like an Archaludon for that matter. You know, okay, sure, there's that. But in my opinion, I think the Ursaluna is just a much better option, right? But some people like Fake Out and they like Hariyama, so okay, sure. The other one is Oranguru. So the main idea here is with the Instruct and Trick Room here and Telepathy. So, you know, think about this. The Oranguru sets Trick Room, you get to redirect with the Indeedee, then you click Instruct, right? So this way your Torkoal gets to click Eruption, and then you Instruct, and then you click Eruption again, right? So that's another thing you can consider with your Oranguru. You could also do that with your Ursaluna and click Earthquake, right? Because you have Telepathy, you're not going to take damage from the Earthquake, so that's another good Pokemon to have on your team. Good synergy there, so if you want that, okay, sure, it also works out. Then there's also, I know some people have tried this, the Braviary over here, right? And you look at it, 112 special attack, 110 HP, pretty decent, right? Pretty slow also, not that slow, but slow enough where it can work in Trick Room. Here's the thing, okay, it can work in both ways, right? You know, Esper Wing is a pretty cool, you know, attack. You get to raise your speed by 1, it has high crit, so it's not necessarily like you know, only your hard Trick Room stuff. I've seen this used on those Pelipper Trick Room teams. Expanding Force, yes, that's cool, but you are a flying type, so you're not going to get the benefit of the terrain. You're forced to Terra Psychic if you want that advantage. So, you know, another niche option to use, but not amazing. King Gambit's pretty good. Base 50, okay, strong physical attack, okay, and then again, it's another good dark type to have on your team. Again, Iron Head, Kowtow Cleave, very strong move, and then Sucker Punch. Be careful of this one, of course. You know, just because you are in the psychic terrain. You can also do like Black Glasses stuff, and then after this you can go like Terra Blast, Terra Fire, you know, whatever it is you want to do, you know, with your King Gambit, so be it. But it's another good option, you know, especially against the mirror matchup, right? Because you are that dark type. Another one to use is Araquanid, right? Again, another much slower Trick Room option than some of your other stuff like in Ursaluna. Hard-hitting Liquidation with Mystic Ward is pretty cool. You know, if you want to go to clear Amulet so you don't get intimidated, that's also an option. Leech Life for recovery, you do also get access to Wide Guard, so that's going to help you in some other cases, like the mirror matchup, like the Expanding Force spam, or the Heat Wave spam, or the Snarl spam, whatever spam you can think of. All right, Araquanid's got you covered with the Wide Guard. Liquidation is also a pretty cool move. Again, sometimes has a little bit of difficulty, you know, with Torkoal on the same team because your Liquidation does less damage, I should say. But it's still also a decent one to consider, you know, in all things. You know, if you like Araquanid, this is another option to really use. All right, another one that you can also consider is this thing, Hydrapple. Maybe we'll do a video later on Hydrapple because on paper, this looks pretty cool. Like HP 106, defense 110, SpDef not bad either. Special attack 120, pretty good. 44 speed, that means you're slower than the other base 50, so that's good. You're a grass type. Immunity to Amoonguss looks pretty cool as well. So, you know, and you also get Regenerator here, super sweet. Syrup is also not a terrible ability, but this is another option to consider, okay? But, again, very, very niche. Maybe not necessarily Psyspam, maybe it just belongs on, it could be used on a Trick Room team. I don't think it's as ideal on a Psyspam Trick Room kind of team, okay? But it is a niche option. You can definitely consider it. But anyway, all right, so those are some other things you can consider if you want to show some variance in your Psyspam teams a little bit. But yeah, I just wanted to show that, you know, those options out there. All right, now let's get back into the pace and let's wrap things up here. All right, so this is Psyspam on here, so we'll put this pace in the video description, of course. I like Gallade. Gallade is like a huge difference maker on this team. It's really strong. You know, Sharpness, Sacred Sword is very strong, and then Cycle Cut just immediately removes Amoonguss off the field. So I like this variant. This one also uses Armarouge. Again, also very strong. Meteor Beam hurts a lot. Rock damage overall is really good. Okay, and then, you know, you just have 1, 2, 3 Trick Room setters, which is really nice. Same with this one, right? Same with the Gallade. You have 3 Trick Room setters, couple Trick Room sweepers, and you have the fast mode here. So, you know, the Psyspam teams that we've given you have decent flexibility in how you want to play them. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to give you some consistent options that are proven already that you can use to get started immediately. All right, so that being said, you know, we've done a lot of coaching on the channel already. So if this is something you're interested in, if you need some help building for Regulation H, and you just don't know where to go in terms of direction, feel free to sign up for Tier 3 on the channel. If you look in the video description below, there is a link to join the channel with that tier 3 sub. And if you look in the pinned comment section, there is another link, the same link that you can click and join that channel with that tier 3 sub. And then from there, you can join the Discord. You can message me on Discord. Joining the Discord is free, but you can message me and then we can plan out our session and then get you the team that you need for Regulation H. Could be for ladder, could be for tournament, could be for fun, okay? Either way, we've got you covered. So whatever needs you need, then, you know, we'll be glad to help you. All right, but that's it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.